So recently I made some changes to the truck, and overall I think I'd made some pretty costly mistakes to my build. Now I wanted to share the short video talking about what I've removed from the truck, what's on it now, why I think I made the mistakes I did, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I did. So let's get into it. So I think the thing that bugged me the most about the previous setup is how heavy it was for what it was. The rooftop tent was a really big rooftop tent, a pretty heavy rooftop tent, and the deck drawer system added a lot of weight. And so once you're fully packed for a camping trip, maybe you got the whole family in there, on a small truck like this with a pretty light payload capacity, the truck was just really heavy. It decreased my capability off-road, and overall it just wasn't as much fun to drive. I went through a period of where I was like kind of like considering, maybe should I go full size? Should I get a full-size truck? But once again, that wasn't really in line for what I needed. I think the Tacoma is the right truck for me. I just had made some mistakes in the direction I was taking the build. I got off track a little bit. So let's talk about the iCamper. The iCamper was a great tent. It sets up super quick, had plenty of room for me and my wife, my 2 kids. Overall, it was a really good tent. I have a lot of good things to say about it, but I never should have spent that much on a tent. And I bought that tent hoping that my wife would come with us more often, and that's just not happening. And so it takes up more space than it needs to on my truck. It's more heavy than it needs to be on my truck. I spent too much money on it. That's why I decided to part with the iCamper. The other thing that I removed was my deck drawer system. Now, if you guys have been following this channel, I've had that thing for a long time, and I really loved it. I really did love it. The functionality of just being able to access all of my camping gear just with the pull out of a drawer was fantastic. But it does have some flaws. Obviously, having a permanent drawer system installed into your truck eliminates the bed of your truck pretty much completely for using it for almost anything else. For a long time, that didn't matter, but you know, we've got 2 kids and we've got a busy life outside of just doing this camping and outdoor thing, and so I really was missing having that truck bed. I also think that the design of the deck drawer system isn't the most efficient design. The drawers kind of like angle down a little bit, and so the storage capacity is just not what it could be. Given that being said, I was able to fit everything that I needed to inside the deck drawer system by continuously minimizing my setup and just kind of making things more efficient, getting rid of stuff I didn't need in there. And so I did fit everything that I needed to in there, but it could have fit better. Like the camp stove that I had in there, it just didn't sit right since the drawers were kind of angled. Nothing ever sit quite right in those drawers, and that always kind of bugged me. The biggest reason why I got rid of the deck drawer system is it weighs 250 pounds, and overall, everything that I've done to my truck right now, that's how much weight overall that I have saved. Even adding the extra camping bins, the new rooftop tent, I've saved 250 pounds to the current setup that I have right now, and that's made a really big difference in the truck's performance, the way it performs off-road. It's a lighter truck now, and it feels better to drive. So now I'm going to take you guys off this tripod here and show you around with what I've added to the truck, and then after that I'll tell you about what I've got planned for the short-term future. Alright, let's start with the new rooftop tent. This is the CVT Mount Shasta Hybrid Extended Fly Rooftop Tent. Now, I think there's a lot of functionality to this tent that I really like, and the price was incredible. Currently these tents are 40% off because they're discontinuing them, and I think that's because they're coming out with a different model to replace them, but as this tent is set up, it suits my needs perfectly, and it's incredibly comfortable. Now, what makes this a hybrid tent is this hard shell on top. It's got this nice hard surface, which I was able to mount my solar panel to, and I was also able to run some crossbars on top as well, which do come with the tent. One of the downfalls of this tent is you have to attach the ladder every single time that you set it up. I mean, I guess you could leave it on full time and then like strap it down, but that is one of the things that you have to set up at camp. Now it has this nice cover on the outside, which definitely protects the tent from the elements. One of the downfalls that this tent has is these buckles that kind of like secure the bottom around the sides of the tent. A lot of them keep falling off, and so I'm gonna have to come up with a solve for that because I've already lost a couple of them. They've just disappeared. So the way I've got it set up right now is the solar panel runs to some MC4 disconnectors over there, which I will have to do something to change in the future because I've got to disconnect these every single time I get to camp. Now, the top of the tent opens this way, and so the roof is basically kind of like a ceiling that comes over on this side. And so the solar panel, obviously, even if I could leave it plugged in, is unusable when you're at camp because it's facing the ground. So in here, I did kind of show this for a minute on my last video, but I want to show you guys the bed of the truck and the setup and what things are like now without the deck drawer system. I do have the fridge in here permanently full time, and I actually added just some little D-rings to the bottom of the truck bed, and I just have it strapped in place with these little straps that I got on Amazon. So the fridge is in there full time in place. That's working out pretty well so far. Now I haven't set it up yet, but this is just a molly panel from Cali Raised Off-Road that I'll be adding to the sides of the truck bed just to add some more storage of things that I want to be able to access frequently. Right here next to it, that's just the ladder for the rooftop tent. And then I did go with Milwaukee Packout toolboxes to store all my camp kitchen. Let me show you guys that real quick. So what's really cool about it is it's accessible from just the side here where my windows are at. And I can get into these individually. This top one right here is mostly my camp kitchen. I've got like, you know, all the utility stuff in here. On this side, like soaps and washcloths, then dishes. Below it I've got pans and utensils. And then below that one, I've got another bin. And you can access them while they're still on top of each other, which is really, really convenient. And so in this one, I've got kind of like my flashlights, USB chargers, a little power bank, some lanterns, and then tiny little camp stove over there to the left right there. Now another cool feature about these is just with this little latch right here, you can just push that and pop them out of place. See if I can do it one-handed. Just pops out of place, pops back into place, and just like that, you're ready for the trail. And so I can actually just do that same on this bottom one and bring both of them out here while I'm cooking dinner or whatnot if I want to have closer access to that stuff. And so at the end of the day, I actually feel like it's a lot more convenient than even a drawer system just because it's so versatile. And this top one I used for my daughter to be able to stand on and help me cook dinner because she likes doing that. So pretty cool. So that's like the camp kitchen stuff, the stuff that I'm going to be accessing frequently. So up top, I've got these vault cases. And over here on my passenger side, I've got some camping equipment that I just don't need to access super frequently. So up in this passenger side vault case, I've got a bunch of miscellaneous camping stuff that I want to have with me on my trip, but I don't use super frequently. So there's like extra propane canisters, extra blankets, first aid kit, also toilet paper, that kind of stuff, shovel, and then some rooftop tent accessories. And on the driver's side, I've got my air up, air down stuff, some jumper cables, a bunch of tools, just a bunch of miscellaneous recovery equipment, whatnot that I might need but don't need it super frequently. So that's all in my driver's side vault case. So I've got them locked up with just these master locks. I had to do them upside down just because there wasn't enough room to to get the key underneath to unlock them. And so unfortunately those locks are a little susceptible to the elements. I'll have to figure out something in the future, but the cases are working out super well. I've also got them just mounted to the front runner roof rack. I just drilled some holes in there, used some M8 bolts and nuts and washers to hold them all into place, put some silicone in there to seal things up, and I haven't had any weather issues so far at all. Now previously I had all my electrical hooked up to my deck drawer system. Now I've got it run through this little side cubby right here, which has been a really cool place to put this control panel. These switches all control my camp lights on the outside of my truck, and so this is going to be just the LED light strip that goes over the tailgate. Love that thing. And then these two are going to be the side lights on the side of the truck. These little diode dynamic SS2s. These things are great at camp. And these last two switches are when I want to use like the amber backlight for like campfire light. I actually typically run these backlights all night long when we're sleeping because it's just a tiny bit of light to illuminate the camp, which is pretty great. So real quick, I'm back out here to finish this video up. The other day I kind of felt a little under the weather, and so I stopped recording, put the camera away, went home. I apologize for all the hand waving and whatnot, but it's springtime and the bugs are out. So from a financial standpoint, obviously I wish I would have got it right the first time, but when it comes down to it, I really wanted my wife to be able to join us on these camping adventures. And so if I didn't try, I would have never known, and I probably would have always wondered if I would have spent a little bit more time catering it to her, would she have come? Now that I know, I do have the freedom to really do what I want with the truck, and that is make the truck more off-road capable. And so that kind of brings me to what's in plan for the future for this truck and this build. Short term, I'm looking at picking up a new suspension. I'm going to be making some room on the truck for some bigger tires, some more ground clearance, some more armor. And so I do have a lot planned, but a lot of that stuff is still quite a ways off, which is okay. I'll be doing this build at a much slower rate than I have in the past. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for that. So the one thing I didn't do in this video is open up the CVT tent and give you guys a look-see inside. Now, I will talk about it real quick. It has a very comfortable mattress. It's plenty big for me and my two kids. And it even came with this LED light strip, the CVT LED light strip that I just plug into this power bank and gives me a lot of light inside the tent. So I wanted to touch on those features of it real quick. I will be opening up the tent and doing a full review on it in a future video. I didn't want to do that right now because I did kind of want to save that for a time where I can really give some better feedback on it. I've only used it on one camping trip. Now, if you do want to see me put this new setup to the test, check out my recent adventure where we took the truck out along with my daughter and a couple of my friends out to the Mojave National Preserve. We explored a ghost town, did some wheeling, found some epic camping. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you check out that most recent adventure. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you out there, and we'll catch you in the next one.